Hello, I am Jan from Prague, the Czech Republic, and in this video we will explore the Canon RF 28 to 70mm f2.8. We'll be testing it across various situations and conditions from Prague to Budapest, as it is perfect for travel due to its compact size. And we will demonstrate its performance using nearly 150 test photos. So let's dive in. What will you see in this video? First, we will summarize its key specifications, then we will test its performance in different situations and see, for instance, what to expect when shooting at maximum aperture with a really shallow depth of field. So, what is important to know about that lens? One of the key features can easily be seen from that footage. And basically, as you can see, I was using it in Hungary and Czech Republic with the Canon R8, and the combination is really small. The lens as such has under 10 centimeters, and for me it really does matter because I do not like big cameras, and I think this is one of the key definition points of that lens. And now I suggest we jump to some examples. This is a pigeon sitting in the front of Hungarian Parliament in Budapest. And if I crop that shot, this is what we get, and I think it's really quite impressive. I used f2.8 for these shots, as actually for the majority of shots from that review. And of course, I should add immediately that typically I would not be using f2.8 for shots like that because, of course, lenses tend not to be perfect at the maximum aperture. And I would be using maybe f4 or f5.6, but we are now trying to demonstrate the capabilities of that lens. And I believe this is a really great example because by studying what happens at the wide open actually means that we can have some proofs that it's really sharp and the quality of the lens is quite impressive, I have to say. Once more, the Parliament in Budapest and some creativity with depth of field. Again, I would not be using exactly that setting, but I think just to give you a glimpse of what that lens is capable of, that could really work quite well. Right, and now if you want some more scientific, so to say, examples, this is f2.8 and I am going up to f22. So you can get some idea of what is happening and what to expect from that type of shot. And let's see some detail. So if I crop that shot at f2.8, that is the result. And please just do note that I actually focused on the moustache, not on the eyes. So do not be confused that it's not perfectly sharp, but of course, as I already mentioned, typically in that case, I would be using f4 at least, and then you can be sure that all the head would be just covered by the depth of field. So here we are at 70, so this is 28, and we can do the same. We can blur the background by playing with the aperture. This is f2.8, and we are again going up to 22. So take whatever you want from that. And before we jump to another testing, just quick note about video. Of course, that lens is really great for video recordings because it's silent, it doesn't produce any sounds when you are recording or zooming, and it's very quick. So, of course, if you want not only to take shots and use it for your videography, that would probably be a quite reasonable choice as well. One more important test. You can see this is in one of the Prague's gardens, and I focused to the center of it, and then let's see what happens in the corners of the image. And this is f2.8, and of course, if I just go up, this is f4, f5.6, and yes, it is a little bit softer than say 4, but at the same time I believe that this is not bad result at all. It's of course softer like every single lens in the world, but still it's pretty acceptable, I think. One more example, please do watch right bottom corner right here. And this is again wide open, the full aperture, maximum aperture. Yes, it's not completely sharp as compared to f4, But again, I have to say I'm really satisfied here, and of course you will be able to find some softness, but it's still acceptable. Now, if you are bored by theory, let's jump to some practice, and let's see my favorite testing peacocks, which appeared in many of my reviews. And this would be a crop from that shot. And again, I have to say I'm quite happy, quite satisfied. And let's see what happens when I crop the head, which is not in the center. And here we go. And again, I have to say it's not soft, it's reasonably sharp, and I quite like the shot. So again, please do not take this like the advice to use the maximum aperture all the time. It's not a great idea. I would never be doing that. But for that demonstration, for that test, it is just interesting. And we can clearly see that the shots are sharp, and even if you crop from, well, quite a big distance, it still does make sense to do it. And some more scenes, some more, well, movements of this incredibly quick subject, and one more portrait of this beautiful animal, and close up is here. And I have to say, I'm quite happy with that as well. It's big crop, but it's still pretty sharp. And now let's us move to the streets and parks of Prague, and let's play with all these blurry backgrounds, either in parks or in cafes if you want. I think it is quite a nice result as well. And of course, as I mentioned, for me, one of the advantages of that lens would be that it gives you the power of creativity. You are simply able to get the feeling of 3D into your shots, which is important. One more pigeon in Budapest, and we already seen these shots, but what I would like to show you is, in fact, that the result is not just done by the lens as such, but also by something which is called profile of the lens. And it's a piece of software which is able to fix the issues. And do not get me wrong, of course you do not have to care at all about that, because first, if you are using JPEGs, it will be done automatically. But even if you use RAWs, like I did in that example and in Photoshop, you won't need to know that these profiles are there, but it's quite interesting to find out that you are actually able to turn it off. What we have here, we have chromatic aberration and vignette, so you don't really have to care much about that. Let's stay in Budapest for a couple of more minutes, some more examples, which should give you an idea how you are able to operate with plasticity and 3D feelings, thanks to the depth of field and all these quite impressive features of the lens. And I really like that option to really decide what should be focused and how to play with a depth of field. One of the examples here, the balloon is flying over the center of Budapest, and I can decide if I want to focus on balloon or on the tree or well, statue or balloon. Simply, if you know what you are doing, that lens opens up quite a lot of opportunities. And well, I know sometimes are people asking me, why do you go that quickly? We would like to have more time to study these shots. But what I'm trying to do is just to give you a glimpse of what to expect from that lens. And that's why I am going so quickly. The same would happen with that statue, a quite interesting statue of a man in one of the marketplaces in Budapest. And let's see, what should we expect from portraits? And yes, of course, if you use this lens for portraits, you just will not be disappointed, as you would have already guessed. And some more coffee and visit to a coffee house and one more test with different settings. And once again, we can go from F2.8, which is here, and we go up to F22, which is here. By the way, these photos are actually shot at ISO of 25,600, which is quite interesting. I just might remind you that I'm using Canon R8, and it should be noted that it's coping really well with these rather extreme ISO levels. And final moment here in Budapest, the beautiful Danube River and the famous castle after the sunset, and some more examples of how important it is to have the option to keep space, keep 3D feeling in your shots. And I think the lens can really help you in that respect. So thank you so much for your attention. I hope I gave you some inspiration, and take care. I'm Jan from Prague, the Czech Republic.